Vive l'empereur!
This is Chris Muller with the Thursday Night Gamers. Aaron Tobel, Chuck Silverstein, and Kurt Marichley. And in this session, we'll be playing Napoleon's Quagmire from OSG Games. Talavera was fought on the 27th to 28th of July in 1809 between Wellesley with Spanish troops under Cuesta and the French army nominally under Joseph's command, but commanded by Victor and Sebastiani. The map for the battle, which is a half sheet, it's actually a very small battlefield compared to like Leipzig or one of those battles. All of the Spanish maps have orchards, this orchard terrain that's very distinctive. The map's quite beautiful. The Rio Tahoe flows through the southern section of the map. There are three sort of victory point centers in the battle. The Sierra de Seguiria, and I apologize for my atrocious Spanish. The Cerro de Medellin, which was the focus of several French attacks during the day, and Talavera itself, which is worth 10 and is a fortified position. In the approach to battle, which we're playing, Victor approaches from off-map along the road to Casalegas, and they cross the Rio Alberque, which is the easternmost river. There's several fords and a bridge. The British set up guarding those fords initially. The battle takes place over 2 days, and I'll talk a little more about how our first session played out as we go forward. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and now on to July 27th, 1809. So, as I discussed earlier, the French all begin off-map and advance toward the river. The Spanish and British set up in Talavera with a small guard at the fords. In this game, Chuck is going to be playing the French, Aaron is playing the British, and I'll be playing the Spanish. I had no preconceived notion of how this battle played out, what the Spanish role was, how Wellesley used them historically. And so I will be making some historically unorthodox decisions. Chuck didn't make his initiative rolls for Victor in the early turns, and because you can't advance after combat if you're out of command, he didn't think he could force those river fords, so he was kind of waiting for a couple of turns. Turned out we had been sort of misreading what the fords do, and later on he would realize that if he just pushed up to the fords with large stacks and pushed Aaron away, that Aaron would not be able to come back to defend those fords. So he lost a little time in the early going because of that. Not really having a very good sense of how powerful the French units are, the Spanish and British, we decided we were going to fight forward of the victory hexes, trying to put some breathing room between our front line and these victory point hexes. By 1 p.m., Chuck had kind of figured out that he could force the fords, and so began pushing up, despite his lack of command roles.
So you have 6. He goes up to a 9 because it's across the
Right.
board, and I have 15. So I think it's 1.51.
Yes.
Looking up. So, alrighty. Well, now let's see what happens. And that is a DR right there.
This one?
Yeah, he's knocked back, and of course I can't advance because I was out of command. But 3 to 1. Well, so you can't advance that. And that is a DR2. This guy here. Okay, now I'm feeling better about this.
We're using a house rule for artillery that treats it like trains. So it can't go up slopes, across streams, or into marshes unless it's on a road without rolling on a table. The table can cause a loss, or it can just stop moving, or it can cross successfully. That has ramifications for Chuck crossing the Rio Alberche, and it also has ramifications for the Spanish in the rear. The Arroyo de la Portina is a stream coming north of Talavera that has no bridges. So if you're going to get your guns across that little stream, either you're going to take a risk, or you have to go all the way into Talavera and then come back out again over the bridges. That's what you can see here. Rather than risk loss, the Spanish artillery has rolled into town and then is coming back north again. Starting at 2 p.m., Chuck began pushing at Ernest. Victor's big divisions started pushing across all the fords and across the bridge as well, using his artillery to soften up the British defenders.
But first, there's a nice 5 bombardment thundering away there. Ah, DR. Those guys. And so the guys attacking thunder across. Well, that's then an 11 to, let's see here, 6. So, oh, just misses the 2, just misses the 2 to 1. So that's a 1.5 to 1. 4 and 1.51 is the DR on these boys. These boys here.
You can argue the divisional integrity thing, but that's not the rule.
Okay. And then this guy, who now he's across the river. So, well, 14 to 6, that's still a 2 to 1.
Yep.
I think any way you slice it. And that is a DR for that whole stack. And then these guys, that is a 12. And who's that? What's that stack in the woods there?
7.5 to 1.
And that is a DR. And let's see if I plunk the leader.
Mackenzie.
Oh, Mackenzie.
The Scots.
Oh!
No.
Oh!
Charles' hot French leader killer dice are back in action.
That's right. That's a DR on those guys. So, ouch.
So you can see the Allied armies are moving toward the fords fairly methodically here. When you look at the map, it seems like the fords are a great place to hold the French in check. They only have a few crossing points. Your flanks are secure, but on the other hand, they're very concentrated and way more powerful than we are.
We're going to stand our ground, you stinking English. That's what a 1 to 1. 4.
That is a shock.
Okay, well.
But I don't think that's, I think that's clear terrain. Oh no, that's a straight up shock.
No, that's a straight up shock, so I don't want this dice. Where's
Well,
it?
you got a 4, Campbell.
I got a 4.
Are those the guards?
Alrighty, well, I happen to be a 4 as well, because I am dragoons. Oh,
so you
tis a
both take
tie.
a hit.
Both take a hit. Okay.
From your biggest high morale guy.
Yeah.
That's bad.
All right. Gee, all my guys are high morale guys. How about
Oh, yeah,
that?
look at that court. Holy crap.
That's right.
Yeah.
What is it?
Okay.
1 to 1.5.
Yeah.
That's another shock.
That's another shock. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it has a 4.
I don't think
What's
I have
you
a
got?
4 over here. These are KGL guys. I think they're all 3s. Yeah.
All 3s. Hey, they've been known
Oh,
to
there's a
drive
blank.
back before. Well, there's a. I go up to a 5, so back again.
I guess they
Comes
stay.
toward the bridges. Trestles.
That's okay. And I think that looks to be it.
Where?
Right here.
So 2 to 1?
2 to 1. And that is a DR. I think those boys maybe had.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah. Here's down to 3.
Yeah, so 1 to 1. Okay, 1 to 1 there. From a cavalry pursuit card. That's 1 to 1. That's an AR. I think it's a shock though. You're
Is
shocked.
it AR with a star?
Yep. All right. Well, but he has a 4, but unfortunately I have a 4 as well. So, and I win with a 1.
To drive him back.
Driving back. And, uh-oh.
To roll for Sherbrooke.
Oh, puts a bullet in the sleeve there. So then the cavalry, basically all the cavalry can advance. So move up to there. So 1 to 1 here. And that is a DR2. I do believe he gets to make his run out of dodge. Although, ooh, what happens to the guns? You have to go across the stream.
Yeah, we have to roll on the table.
That's
5 companies of the
Okay, so those guys push back too.
60th.
they push back these 2 stacks.
Oh, wow,
Push back
nice.
there. Yeah.
Fighting in the clearing there.
Hmm?
Cool. All right, is that it for combat?
That's it for
All right.
combat.
What is that? That is the...
That is the French.
So at the on 3 p.m. turn, rain came down. That's why everybody's hiding all their guys. The British have now sort of figured out that they are outclassed just in terms of weight of numbers and initiative at the fords. So they are trying to fall back. That's easier said than done, though. Chuck is able to tie those guys up and make sure that they can't just get away easily. The Spanish are establishing a line, but even that is starting to be questioned. So the Allies' bit of a quandary as to where to hold their ground.
Yep, and I'm also across the stream
Yeah.
too.
That multiplies you by 1.5, so
Okay,
by
so
6
I
to 10.
have, yeah, 6 to 10. I agree. 6 to 10. That's a
1 to 2.
1 to 2. 5 and a 1 to 2. That's an AR2. KGL's not happy.
1, 2.
Does his cavalry get
Yeah,
half?
same deal. They'd
Same
be
deal.
half.
So he's a 5 attacking a 3. So that whole mess is a 1 to 1.
Yeah.
All right. 2 and a
That
1
is
to
a
1. DR. Okay.
Can I choose which modifier to use?
Oh, all right. 7. Sure. Well, I think things we're probably a turn behind where the French could have been because we didn't realize that the ford makes that just a stream, and I think in looking at that, the French player can press on.
Just push some big stacks right to the ford,
push
and
some
then
stacks
force
on because you got
the guy to either withdraw or counterattack,
Right.
even if you don't make your roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's that.
Do you feel comfortable about getting over the river? You seem okay to me in terms of.
I think so. I think the big thing is that I've clearly got the bridge, and that's the big thing. Because
Well, you have to remove that roadblock stuff.
That's all right. That's okay. But
So we're playing with the rules with that guns are trains, so you can't drag them across fords. So that means without maybe losing them. So the bridges are important for the guns. How about you, Aaron? What do you feel about that little skirmish right down there?
It's tough for the British because they don't have a lot there, and the French units are large. The British have a couple 5 strength units, but most of them are 3s, and the French have a lot of 7s and 6s. So I really probably should have run away a little faster.
Pull back quicker. Well, historically, Mackenzie fought a rear guard, and everybody else booked. So our little idea about maybe you fight at the fords, I think is probably pretty clearly not the strategy of choice.
The first division was mauled as a result.
Yeah. So we had a great time playing Talavera. We'll play again next week, going into the late afternoon of the 27th. A good introduction to the set of battles, I think. It plays really quickly. Tricky. I haven't even seen the Spanish in battle yet, but I'm not really looking forward to it. Those French units are really potent, and the Spanish are very problematic, and the British are small. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week.
Vive l'empereur!